Hi everyone, my name is Abdul Chohan. Very privileged to have the position of being a board of advisor to Stellars. This particular conversation going to kind of start off with the 6 most expensive words in education. So, what are the 6 most expensive words in education? We've always done it this way. 6 words. We've always done it this way. This is a really costly statement. Quite often when we are speaking to school leaders about managing change and looking at doing things differently, the response we often get are these 6 words, that we've always done it this way. Why do we need to change, and so on. The reason why this becomes really expensive is because organizations then don't move on. They use the same tools, they have the same people, they have the same approaches. And as time goes on, and as we know, the world moves on, technology moves on, the tools that we use move on. And when it does come to the time of inevitable change, this then becomes very expensive, not just financially, but in terms of time, training, professional development, and lots of other things as well. So really, this conversation is very much about how at Stellar, we're going to stop doing the wrong things really well. And we're really going to focus on making good things happen. And that's what really excites me about Stellar, the work that we're doing here, and of course, this role that I have as Board of Advisor. What we do know is the role of technology is changing significantly. Everyone that we know around us, no matter how technologically illiterate a person might be, they have a mobile phone. People are moving towards mobile banking. The way we even connect with our doctors and get information is through technology. This has had significant impact in education because organizations like the World Economic Forum have kind of advised us that actually the world is a changing place with respect to jobs, what employers are looking for in terms of skills, in terms of the ability to kind of work remotely, the ability to use technology effectively, the ability to work as an individual and as a team is shifting. And all of these skill sets inevitably have technology as its foundation. The vision for technology does not go beyond a modified kind of level. And what I mean by that, and quite often I refer to this as translation. So what I mean by that is that before technology, what the children were doing is they were writing in books or completing worksheets and so on. It was a pen to paper approach. Now that the students have technology and the teachers have technology as well, and it might even be a device on a one-to-one basis, all that has happened is it's the same document, the same worksheet, but it's on a screen. And the children, instead of completing it pen to paper, they're just completing it on a screen. This is translation. Although it saves printing and it's faster to get the resources to the kids and for the kids to send that back to the teacher, pedagogically, it doesn't really carry much weight. From a learning perspective, it doesn't add much value, which is why I kind of call this translation. And yes, with that, you are absolutely compromising the humanistic element of education. However, the approach that we're taking at Stellar, and of course this is a tried and tested approach as well, is that we can use technology from a humanistic perspective. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that, based on the types of activities that teachers are asking the students to submit, it's possible to use technology, getting children to explain their thinking. The ability to hear a child's thinking, for them to be able to speak and have their audio captured, for them to be able to annotate and explain a concept and an idea, and for that to be captured at the same time in line with their voice. There's a lot of research that suggests that this form explanation requires higher cognitive demand. It produces more effort on the brain to kind of synergize their thinking, their speaking, their annotations and writing, and to collect that as a thought and be able to send that to the teacher. And that is without compromising that humanistic approach, because we're still speaking, we're still using voice, often using video and so on as well. DNA of learning is kind of structured around these 4 pillars. The first one is direct instruction. This is about the teacher explanation being captured. After direct instruction is independent practice. So any school that you go to, anywhere in the world, practice is the ability for a child to be able to demonstrate that they've understood a concept and an idea. Equitable access. So equitable access is a really powerful term. When you have 20 children in the class, you have 20 different children in the class. Every child learns in a different way. Every child wants to be able to show their learning in a different way. Research suggests that high quality verbal feedback can accelerate learning by 8 months. Assessment is a huge part of education. It allows educators to pick up on misconceptions. Okay? It allows me to measure, have children actually understood? What we're doing at Stella is to kind of devise this approach whereby actually the children's learning is captured. It's all about children being able to showcase their learning. It's about equitable access. There's a lot of publications that have been put out around responsibility for digital use. And one thing that I would certainly point people towards is the DQ publication. If you do a search for the World Economic Forum and type in DQ, it stands for digital quotient, you'll get this kind of wheel that is breaking down digital literacy into lots of different things. And of course, those of you that have been onto the Stellar website and looked at all the literacies that are there, one of them is actually around digital literacy. And this DQ wheel is really powerful because it doesn't just talk about digital safety, which is quite often what most people are concerned about. Are they getting the right content? Is it safe content? Are they going to get hacked? All that kind of stuff and so on. Who are they speaking to? So these kinds of things usually parents are worried about. But actually there are lots of other things on there. Things like digital emotional intelligence. Being able to detect when users, friends, people within our friend circles are actually suffering from mental health issues because of their responses and the way that they're acting on technology or no use of technology. Am I using this too much? What is too much? And so on. So there's lots of things on there like digital footprints. I know some of the work that we've done with DQ in schools, getting children to recognize that actually a digital footprint is a real thing. If I create something and put it on the internet, that's going to be there forever. Even if I can delete it, it's possible that content can be there, but former employers will be able to see this. So kind of making children aware of this. It stems from the idea that good schools are consistent and outstanding schools are consistently good. So what do we mean by that? If we're an outstanding school and we're saying we're consistently good, what we're saying that any child can come into any stellar school, go into any classroom, and they will never get a learning experience that's going to be less than good. And for that to happen, we're going to establish the DNA of learning with the 4 pillars. And the reason why we're doing that is because each child will get a personalized learning approach that is very, very specific to them. The BYOD program, the technology program, the teaching and learning aspect will be personalized for each and every single student. The amount of time that children have in front of their parents is a lot more, significantly more. So a strategic approach to using technology effectively is to make the learning visible to parents. So what we want to do is to support the children's learning at home rather than here's a worksheet that the children will be doing. What we want the parents to be able to see is the conversation and the learning, the support, the discussions, the key concepts, the central ideas that are being presented to their children in school being made available in a humanistic way to parents. That way, parents can be part of the children's learning experience. They can have conversations and where the opportunity for direct instruction is. So for example, the teacher is explaining how to do long division. Actually, that can be captured in a way in which I've explained before, made available to parents as a video, and now the parents can watch that video and are in a better position to support their children rather than going down the route of where parents are saying, well, we did this in a different way when we were at school, and that frustration happening between parents and children. So transparency is key, and that's a strategy that we will definitely be working on and will be coming into your homes from Stellar directly. And this will be part and parcel of the approach that every teacher and every child will experience at all Stellar schools. AI is changing the landscape. The speed at which we can now create content is really powerful. But what interests me is how we will be able to train students to be able to use AI effectively. At this moment in time, most people are kind of just typing in questions into ChatGPT. But actually that's a whole skill set. It's called prompt engineering. And there are various models that can be used to interrogate AI. What is the information that we are looking for? Who is the audience that we're presenting it to? What kind of timeline are we looking at this to do? What language should be used? So there's lots of prompt engineering approaches and some workshops that hopefully in the future that we will be doing with teachers. So AI is a super interesting thing in education. It's changing lots of sectors in the real world, and no doubt education is one of them. Wearable technology is coming into play as well. I'm seeing this happen in some areas where actually children with smartwatches, when they're doing physical education, it's giving them real metrics about their data and their health and so on, and that's being integrated into schools. That's an exciting area for development in terms of what's going on and how active children are. One organization where children are sat for too long, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, the wearables are telling them that actually you've been sat for too long and that's not great for learning. You know, blood needs to move. There's activities that are planned in between and so on. Another big aspect is analytics and data. So the speed at which analysis can happen through AI is super powerful. I can get instant reports that's telling me as I ask the question, within seconds I'm getting a report how well students have understood something, how many have understood it, how many have not understood it, what steps I should take to be able to kind of overcome the data that I'm seeing and to be able to complete that gap and so on. So that real-time data and analytics is a really exciting place at the moment, and lots of organizations are kind of making use of that as well. The innovations and the future of educational technology is looking really exciting.